Okay, think about this for a second. What happens to all the stuff you buy when you're, well, done with it? Does it just end up as junk collecting dust in a landfill? We're about to dive into a huge, and I mean huge, shift in how businesses are thinking about ownership and what happens long after you've swiped your card.
So let's get right into it. What if a product's end of life isn't an end at all? What if it's really just the start of a whole new chapter? A chapter that could mean more value for you and, surprisingly, more revenue for the company that made it. To really get where we're going, we first have to understand the old way of doing things. You could call it the sell and forget trap, and it's a model we're all pretty familiar with.
Right, so this is the classic one-way street of business. A company digs up some raw materials, they make a product, they sell it to you, and that's it. Their job is done. Eventually, that product gets used up and turns into waste. It's a straight line. Simple, but, incredibly inefficient.
Yeah, this whole linear model is basically just a dead end. The product's value just vanishes, and the manufacturer misses out on any chance to make more money from that thing they worked so hard to create. It's just a massive, massive missed opportunity.
But what if there's a way out of that dead end? This is where a pretty radical new idea comes into play, one that's all about unlocking the hidden value that's been left on the table for decades.
And the core concept here is called redistribution. It's a fancy term, but the idea is simple. Keep products in use for as long as humanly possible. Whether that's through reselling them, reusing them, or sharing them, you're basically just squeezing every last drop of value out of them.
And you can really see the difference here. On the left, you've got the old way, one and done, then it's trash. But on the right, you see this continuous loop. The product's journey doesn't end. It just becomes a cycle of ongoing value. This quote absolutely nails the mindset shift that's required. Companies are realizing they can't just be sellers anymore. They need to become stewards of the value their products create, managing it over the entire lifecycle.
Okay, so what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's break down the first big model, recommerce. This is all about giving products a second, or a third, or hey, even a fourth life.
Simply put, recommerce is just what it sounds like. Reverse commerce. It's the official, organized business of selling pre-owned goods. Think of it as a company creating its own formal marketplace for stuff that would normally just be forgotten in a closet or end up in a landfill.
And IKEA's buyback and resell program is a fantastic example. You can literally go online, get a quote for that old Billy bookcase, bring it back to the store, and get a voucher. Then IKEA checks it out and puts it right in their as-is section for someone else to buy. It's so simple. It's actually brilliant.
And don't for a second think this is some small niche program. Just last year, in 2023, IKEA gave over 45 million products a second life this way. That's a staggering number. It just goes to show how much value was just sitting there waiting to be tapped into. All right, the next set of models, they take this whole idea a giant leap further. They start to ask a really fundamental question. Do you actually need to own something to get value from it? This is the big shift towards access over ownership. And there are two powerful ideas driving this whole trend. The first is the sharing economy, which, we're all pretty familiar with by now. But the second, and maybe even more revolutionary idea, is something called product as a service, or PaaS for short. So this table breaks down the key differences. With a sharing model, ownership is kind of fluid, right? Like people renting out their own cars. But with product as a service, the manufacturer actually keeps ownership. They sell you the use of the product, which creates this steady, predictable revenue stream. And here's the kicker. It totally changes their incentive. Now they want to design products that are super durable and easy to maintain. A perfect example of the sharing model is something like BMW's Share Now service. I mean, instead of a car just sitting in a driveway 95% of the time, a single vehicle can serve dozens of people in a city, all managed through an app. It's all about maximizing the use of that one car and fighting a different kind of waste, wasted potential.
Now, let's talk about product as a service, because this is where things get really, really interesting. The company keeps the product, and you just pay for the outcome. You're not buying the thing itself, you're buying what the thing does for you.
This quote just says it all, doesn't it? Michelin pioneered this model for trucking fleets. Instead of selling a bunch of tires, they sell performance. The fleet pays them per kilometer driven, and Michelin handles everything else, the monitoring, the maintenance, the replacements. They are, quite literally, selling distance. And the results are just massive.
Because they're incentivized to make the most efficient, durable tires possible. Michelin Service saves its customers over 3 billion liters of fuel and cuts CO2 emissions by 9 million tons every single year. It's this perfect win-win of business innovation and serious sustainability. So what we're really seeing here is a fundamental change in what it even means to be a manufacturer. It's a shift from being a one-time seller to becoming a long-term steward, responsible for a product's value throughout its entire life. And the ripple effects of this can be huge. Get this. For every one shared car that Volvo's mobility service put on the road in some Swedish cities, they found that up to 9 private cars were taken off the road. Just stop and imagine the impact that has on traffic, on parking, on how a city feels.
Now, making this kind of shift is not easy. It takes some serious investment. You need powerful digital platforms, you need sensors and IoT to get data back from your products, you need smart logistics to handle all the returns and servicing, and maybe most important of all, you need a completely new service-first mindset inside the company. And that really proves that being sustainable is about so much more than just using recycled materials. The real future is in redesigning the business model itself to be less wasteful and to generate value over and over again from the exact same assets. Which leaves us with one final thought to chew on. What if the future of commerce has almost nothing to do with what you sell, and everything to do with the value you can keep in motion, constantly circulating through our economy?